Well, hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Backstage Bimbo TV. For those of you who don't know me, that are stumbling onto my channel, my name is Allison Rouse, the most notorious groupie, and author of We've Got Tonight, The Life and Times of Notorious Groupie Me. That's right. Welcome back, you guys. Love everybody with all the positivity and love that you are spreading. I can never thank you enough, and I'm always going to start or end my videos with that because truly you are the legs I stand on. You guys have helped me so much. You've been such awesome people. I appreciate you guys so much. So I've gotten a lot of requests because of the Lori Maddox versus Sable Star vlog. I've gotten a few requests to do a couple more groupies, one in particular, and I've kind of decided to do it head-to-head again against another groupie of her time because I thought about it and I really don't want to make it a bitch fest because she's not worth my time. But I'm going to do it this way because it'll kind of give you a comparison and a different perspective into the reality that was Pamela DeBar's. So today we are going to compare Bebe Buell versus Pamela DeBar's. And we're just going to free ball it for our drinks today. I'm grabbing a little Fireball and Bailey's because it's one of my favorites. So grab whatever balls you want, kick up your heels, and let's have a little rocky talkie, shall we, folks? Cheers, big ears. Okay, so we're going to get into this today because Bebe Buell and Pamela DeBar's were of the same time. They dated the same guys at the same time, but were two totally, completely different women. And their existence backstage was different as well. So we're going to talk about this a little bit more and get into it. So for starters, in my opinion, Bebe Buell came along. She had come from some money. That's fine, whatever. But to me, she went out and kind of made her own way into the world. She modeled. She did Penthouse and, kind of more adult magazines, but made it more glamorous and gorgeous shots of her, because that's one thing Bebe Buell and I have in common. We've both done Penthouse. We've both done a lot of magazines. So I kind of get her better. And I was saying this to the other day to a friend of mine. Well, we'll get into what I was saying later. But so she kind of went out and made her own way into the world. When you hear Bebe Buell's story, it's always just Bebe alone. She doesn't have a group of people. She doesn't have Frank Zappa introducing her in. It seems to me, because I have not read Bebe Buell's book. Of course, I know who she is. I know the guy she's dated. And I totally respect, have no disdain or anything towards Bebe Buell. I think she's cool. Like I was going to say a minute ago, I was talking with a friend, and we were talking about if Bebe Buell and Pamela DeBar's were down a dark alley and the killer was going to have one of them, I'd be on Team Buell. I'd have her back. So anyway, so I kind of identify with Bebe Buell in that way because I may have had a group of girls, but every single one of us, we were either together or we were someplace apart with other musicians by ourselves. We had all moved to different states and, still had our own lives with rock stars backstage by ourselves. And that to me was kind of Bebe Buell. Like, you look at my later years, and it's just me going to meet the rock stars on my own. And that's kind of how I see how Bebe Buell started her groupie career. She was just in the right place, the right time. She wanted to meet these rock stars, and she did. And she did it on her own accord. She didn't have to use the excuse as Frank Zappa or GTOs, which, that's what Pamela did. It took that for Pamela to get backstage, for her to be part of this, supposed girl group thingy that did one shitty album, and introduced by Frank Zappa and stuff as the girls to get groupies together outrageously or whatever it was, the GTOs. I mean, this is something like if Pamela would have gone out by herself and not had Frank Zappa, I don't think she actually would have really gotten as far as she did. And she didn't get as far as Bebe Buell did. And I don't mean like it's a competition or anything. I'm just saying as far as experiences actually go in real life, not fluffed up by Hollywood. So, you know, and that kind of, Pamela relied on that as her identity rather than just being able to stand in her own identity. You know, so she relied on that to kind of make her be something special, where Bebe Buell just was something special. She just went out, lived her life, did her thing, and rocked it out. Good on her. So that was kind of the difference how Bebe and Pamela actually got started, in my opinion. And this is all opinion, educated opinion, mind you. Like I said, I really haven't read Pamela's book. Like I always say, it was 1988. And some girl brought it to the house, and they were like, oh, this book. And I was like, oh, read a couple chapters. I'm like, Metallica's in town, Robert Plant's in town, whoever. Tossed it to the side, because why would I read a book about someone's life that I'm living better? So I haven't read Bebe's book or anything like that. And it's all fairness, I haven't read any of Pamela's books or hers either. So this is all just education, you know, educated because we have mutual friends, because I know the dynamics of groupies and, you know, backstage and how some things work and stuff. But anyway, so, you know, Bebe stood out on her own as to where Pamela DeBar's needed something just to get her noticed. And I think Bebe was more refined as to, the GTOs were kind of more the hippie pussy, but Bebe was kind of the international model pussy. Right? Nothing wrong with either. Well, I don't know. Do what you will with that one. So, and that's kind of the start of how they experienced, I think, kind of is what took them on different paths. Like, Bebe had really, really amazing long term. Like, Jimmy Page obviously liked Bebe Buell better, because he jumped off Pamela onto a couple of her friends. Well, onto Lori Maddox, not her friend. And, you know, was seeing Bebe and chose Bebe over Pamela because there was obviously something there that was more classic in Bebe, that she could identify with Jimmy internationally or mentally, emotionally, educationally, I don't know, than Pamela did. Pamela just seemed to be more of, aren't you pretty, and I'm going to worship you and be your muse. As to her, I think Bebe was kind of more of, let's have a good time. And she was more involved intimately, emotionally, not physically intimately, but that as well. But I think she was more involved mentally, emotionally with rock stars than Pamela DeBar's was. Bebe had more long-term relationships with Mick Jagger, with Jimmy Page, obviously, Steven Tyler and Todd Rundgren, Elvis Costello. So, to me, her relationships with rock stars were a little bit deeper than Pamela's, and she was seen differently as, like, yeah, this is someone that you could have a real relationship with, as to where Pamela DeBar's is like, yeah, we'll keep her around for fun if there's nobody else around. You know, because what people don't realize with books, and this is where mine has no Hollywood fluff, no bullshit. And I think Bebe's is more no bullshit. Like, I think she kind of stuck to her own guns. Pamela DeBar's kind of let the editors and PR people twist things a little bit to make it more fluff, because, you know, Pamela DeBar's blames Almost Famous for her losing an HBO deal to make a movie out of her book. It wasn't, don't blame Almost Famous, honey, because you are not Penny Lane. No. Cameron Crowe said that. It was, you lost it because it wasn't, there was nothing there that could make a sustained story for a movie or a series. It was just meh. And Bebe Buell's would sustain that. Like, I think her experiences were, like I said, deeper and crazier and more emotional and longer and fraught with reality and not just, I'm a muse. You know, I think when the rock stars were around Bebe, I think they found something deeper in her than just the sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And when they were around Pamela, they just found a doll to do with what you want. So that's kind of the difference to me. And like I said, with Bebe's book, it's no bullshit. It's not as twisted around as Pamela's is. You know, so to me, there's a real big difference in the girls that they just kind of have fun with and the girls that they meet on the road that they get into actual relationships with. And Bebe was the latter, the one that got into the actual relationships. Yes, Pamela did marry Michael DeBars, but that was the only real deep relationship she had romantically with those rock stars. Because like I said, Jimmy Page was seeing her and Bebe Buell. Who did he choose? Bebe Buell. And we know Jimmy Page, that's got to be more an intellectual choice. That he could talk to Bebe Buell and be seen, feels better with her on his arm than he did Pamela. And you know, you don't have to be all deep and educational, and you kind of do when it comes to musicians. You do want to mentally and emotionally and stimulate them as much as you do physically. And I think Bebe Buell knew that, and Pamela DeBars did not. I think she more just kind of stimulated their egos and not their hearts and souls. There we go. That's the way to say it, I think. So that's kind of, you know, my comparison between the two. Bebe was a keeper. Scammy DeBars was a sleeper. You sleep with her, but you don't really get that involved with her. You know, and you don't see Bebe Buell. You see her in a lot of pictures. But again, like I said with Sable Star and Lori Maddox, Bebe's pictures are more relaxed. They're just her hanging out. You know, and I'm not talking about the stuff she did modeling, because obviously modeling she's doing, which, you know, she was an actual model, and Pamela DeBars just sort of crept into a few photo shoots that she got through a couple friends. So, but, you know, and I think, I forgot what I was saying a second ago, but anyway, so yeah, I think Pamela DeBars was more just their toy that they could hang out with once in a while until something better came along. And Bebe Buell was what was better that came along. And you guys, I'm sorry if for you Pamela DeBars fans, don't hate me. She's not who she says she is. And this is the thing about Bebe Buell and Pamela as well. Bebe will say it. She'll say it out loud. Like I said, I don't pay this much attention. I do a little bit of Googling before I did this, but Bebe will say straight up what she means. Her book is a little more straight up than Pamela DeBars. Pamela DeBars is more of the baby groupies, which she meant as an insult. And then she uses people because she needs to keep up the facade. And Bebe Buell doesn't need to keep any facade up because that's just her life. There's nothing that was embellished in Bebe Buell's book that like it was in Pamela's. So, you know, I can respect Bebe Buell a little bit more because she had a bigger experience, I think, than Pamela DeBars when it came to rock and roll. And Bebe Buell went out there and did her thing, and, you know, she had a hard secret to keep that, you know, I don't think was... Anybody should knock Bebe Buell for not telling Liv Tyler who her real dad was, because, you know, that's a choice of a mother. You just can't knock anybody for that. So... And, you know, Pamela always kind of had a more, I think, fantasy version of her rock and roll life. As to where Bebe Buell had a more realistic experience of what it was supposed to be. And she kind of controlled her own experience as to, like I always say, in the 80s, we were the masters of the dinner. That was our 7-course meals. We were going to choose it. And I think Bebe Buell was more that type, as to where the LA girls and Pamela DeBars were more the side dishes to things. Yeah. And it showed, because like I said, if you look at the history, Bebe Buell had more significant, longer, deeper relationships, and Pamela DeBars had flirtations and photo ops. Because she is very posed in every picture that there is. She's very, very posed, very... Always knocking my water over. It's a bottle. But, so yeah, and that to me is a difference. I think Bebe Buell's was a richer experience, as to where Pamela DeBars was a more egotistical experience. Bebe lived her rock and roll life, total heart and soul. Pamela DeBars lives it with her ego and the need to big dog everybody and be the biggest dog. And when she realizes she's not, she goes, because she is not a nice woman, you guys. This is what you guys have to realize. Pamela DeBars, in her book, the baby groupies are called baby groupies as an insult, and that is a term made up by Pamela DeBars. She hated all those people, but when she needed to make money on a third book, who did she call? She used them because she's got to keep up this facade that she really is this amazing rock and roll entity. And she's just another groupie. A dime a dozen groupie. Bebe Buell, 24 karat groupie. So there's the difference in my opinion. I think Bebe Buell had a much richer, more heart and soul experience, was really in it for, this was her tribe. Like I always say, this is my tribe. I was never in it to be famous or to boost my ego or anything like that. And I think that's kind of how Bebe was, because she had her own career, her own life, her own money, her own world that she created. Pamela DeBars, her world was created for her, and her whole world was rock and roll. She didn't have much going on outside of that. So, and I think that that's a huge difference of attraction for the rock stars, because if they see that's all you are, you might as well be a star fucker in their eyes. You know, so I think Bebe kind of had that richer experience because she had that going for herself, the heart and soul. So there you guys go. There's a comparison. And like I say, don't, Pamela DeBars fans, sorry. This is this is the truth. And you know she hates me. You know she badmouths me all the time. She intentionally, maliciously defames me, calls me a liar because she's insecure because, oh my God. Any groupie that challenges her, any woman that challenges her, she's like, oh my God, all my little minions, go get her. I'm okay, Mrs. Roper. Stop getting your fucking moo-moo in a bunch over me and mind your own fucking business. Bebe Buell doesn't do that. She just minds her own business, tells her own story, and goes on her merry way. So why don't you back your little Mrs. Roper moo-moo wearing, menopause moo-moo wearing ass back into your own spot, Pamela. Quit being mean to me. I'm not costing you anything, but you are costing me plenty. And trust me, in the long run, I will cost you plenty too, dear. It's already starting. The exodus is happening, bitch. Cheers, big ears. Anyway, so that's the difference. And like I said, I didn't want to turn this into a bitch fest about Pamela DeBars, but now you guys can kind of see when you compare like Bebe Buell's actual life and Pamela DeBars' life, which one was the richer existence in rock and roll? Which one had the true heart and soul? She was a part of this tribe, as to this one just sort of snuck in because she got in on someone else's coattails. So there you guys go. There's my rant for the day. Like I said, some of you are not going to like it, but that's okay. I don't expect everybody to like it because you don't have to, but it's the truth. Not everybody wants to hear the truth. They want to be wrapped up in the almost famous fantasy. And I'm not wrapped up in any fantasy. I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's asses. I'm not embellishing my experiences. I'm just talking. My book was not edited by anybody, and I have no jealousy or anything because, you know, in my time, like I always say, we didn't know who these women were. Pamela, just like I said, come back with the book. I tossed it to the side because I was already 4 years into my little rock and roll fantasy. I didn't need to read about it. I was living it. So I don't really read the books on rock and roll, but so I get my opinions because I'm educated and I've been around the same people that they have, and they have some of the same friends and stuff. And Cy Langston let me in on a lot of little kids and bits. And, you know, like I said, I like that Bebe isn't, you know, someone trashes her, she'll be like, fuck you back. But she doesn't go out of her way to try and big dog anybody else to make herself look better because she's afraid of that carefully crafted little facade cracking. And I've never had a facade, so there ain't nothing for me to crack. Come at me. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to this week's Rocky Talkie. like I said, a lot of people asked me to do one on Pamela DeBar's and other groupies, so I'm just kind of did this one this way because I think it helps people really put things into perspective, because when you have editors and PR and marketing and stuff, they're going to want things to be a certain way so that they're going to get the best attention. So they might glorify things that weren't exactly what they were. So decide for yourself if you want to be swindled or if you just want to hang out and have a good little rockin' time. So, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thank you guys for all the love and support. Really, really, truly. It means the absolute world to me. I cannot thank everybody enough. And welcome to my all the new subscribers I'm getting. And for the, 54% that are just haunting my channel, hit that subscribe button. Let's do this. Let's get a whole different rock and roll groupie existence out into the world. The real one. Not the Hollywood version, but the real motherfucking rock and roll existence out there. So, subscribe. Hitting my bells. And we'll see you on Sunday for some cocktails and rocktails. Cheers, big ears.